Hey guys, it's your boy the greatest back again, and today I'd like to talk about a little something real quick that I feel is kind of a bigger deal than what a lot of people want to give credit to. And that is the fact that the game Arc Raiders is based in a post-apocalyptic world, right? And with that being said, people are treating it like it's a battle royale. They're treating it like it's a Call of Duty style, every man for themselves mentality. And that winds up making the game harder for them. And then you have other people that are playing PvE, or they're looting, extracting, they're killing Ark and extracting, and they're avoiding confrontation with humans. And those people tend to find all of the loot they want. They tend to have a great time killing Ark. They still get eliminated occasionally by the Ark because in this game, the system that the Ark use, it's dynamic. So it's impossible to predict the movement of every Ark on the map at all times and not make a mistake occasionally that winds up with you being shipped back to Speranza with your tail between your legs and zero loot in your pockets. And then with those two opposing mindsets, they wind up in the same lobbies together occasionally. And I have experienced personally both sides of the tracks. One, PvE, that's my baseline playstyle. That is how I go about my day-to-day raider activities. If I'm not just looting and trying to find items for quests or doing the different side missions, or even just trying to get done with the weekly challenges for XP, or kill this many pops or this many ticks or whatever, right? The trials are meant for you to have something to strive towards, to aim at. And what I've noticed is that people are not approaching this game as if their raider is actually them. And it's kind of counterintuitive to look at Arc Raiders the same way you would Call of Duty. Because in Call of Duty, the goal is to be competitive, right? You against everyone else on the map. And if everyone else on the map wins, that means you have to lose. Um, and the same thing for you. If you win, that means everybody else lost in Warzone, right? But in Arc Raiders, it's much different. It's an extraction game. It's a survival game. And yes, sometimes surviving means eliminating other players, but it is not required. It's not something that you have to do in order to get a better gun, to get a better shield or an augment. It does not matter. In fact, I have been in so many lobbies where people go and they do the matriarch event, the harvester, or they go and fight the queen, and then they kill each other over the cores. And that very thing is exactly what I'm talking about, where people will work together in order to not be collectively ground into dust by a matriarch or a queen. And then when somebody finally makes it to the final moments where the core is dropping out of the bottom, they turn on each other. Now, that is becoming more rare in my lobbies. But when I first started doing those events, that's exactly what was happening. Or I would get eliminated in a side building. Let's say you go to Spaceport and the matriarch is over by the tower. So you decide, hey, let's loot all the outside warehouses around the edges of the map. And I would walk into these areas and there would be somebody literally hiding in a shadowy corner, and they would shoot and kill me as I walk by. Because they know that everybody else is working together out on the matriarch. So if anybody comes in here, they're probably going to be alone. And that's their moment to strike. Now, that playstyle is definitely weird to me, but it's at least a calculated decision, right? The people that are fighting the matriarch and then turn around and shoot each other over cores, I think these people are actually not thinking at all. They're just operating on emotion. And this game is, like I said, an extraction survival game. So your actions, your behaviors, they all compile to make your raider who they are. And your next raid is going to be determined matchmaking wise off of your behavior over the last 10 raids, the last 20 raids, however many it is. And when you walk into a raid, you have to have the mentality of whatever your goal at the end of the road is. Am I coming here just for XP? Am I coming here to find the crazy loot? Right? Those are minor issues. What I mean by your goal, your end goal is, what are you trying to be as a raider? Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? Are you just a normal dude that will defend themselves? These things have to be decided in your mind before you're faced with adversity in the game from other people. So the reason I bring that up is of a short, quick video that I was doing live on stream last night. And I had an encounter with another raider, and he later spoke with me through text and told me why what happened. And it's my entire point of this entire premise is that there are too many people using the game the way that this gentleman is, and they don't understand why what's happening is happening. So let's watch that video real quick, and then we'll touch basis on what's going on in it here shortly. Let's go.
Watch out, here you go.
Now what I'm doing here is I'm trying to do the quests.
Come on over here, big boy.
Where you have to kill, or you have to get XP, damage on arc with, nomadic tactics, aka traps, mines, things like that.
I'm trying to draw him over here to me. I'm trying to draw him over to me. I got to damage him with mines.
Oh, okay.
So this guy hears the fighting, and he comes walking up talking. I couldn't hear what he said too well, but he showed himself. He shot at the bastion, and he didn't show me any aggression. And then his response to me telling him what I was doing, he seemed absolutely cool with it, right?
Oh. set it off.
I'm having issues getting the mines to actually set off, but he's being patient. He's letting me do my challenge.
Finally.
I finally get it going. And the Bastion, it can see me through the vehicle, so it just wants to walk a straight line to me. This guy's keeping his distance from me, which I thought was just him trying to keep his distance from the Bastion and not get shot out in the open.
Yeah, this
And he starts helping me, right? So I'm paying him no mind.
I used up all my mines.
I'm taking damage. You can hear my shield from the Bastion. And
Hey,
then
come
he
on, bro. What is that shit, bro? Are you really a rat like that, dude? Come on.
does the unthinkable. Now, was I pissed off when this happened? It sounded like it a little bit, but I wasn't just absolutely furious. I felt betrayed because that's exactly what happened. Now, as we go on in the video, I'll walk away for a while because I'm like, I need to go use the bathroom, dude. I can't keep putting up with this stuff. It's not going to show the messages. Okay, so I ended up messaging him and going, hey, man, what was that about? Because what I do is when somebody rats me, I ask them, like, why did you do that? And I tell them, I'm just asking for my own knowledge for this video I'm working on. Are you doing this intentionally to be a rat? Or were you afraid of something? Or was it just a fly by the seat of your pants moment? You know, what is the deal? Because I'm trying to get a better understanding of like people's mentality and why certain decisions are made in their eyes, because I can't see the purpose in it and I can't see why somebody would do that other than they want my guns and loot and stuff. And the reason I say I can't understand it is because this game is so easy to play. It's so easy to get loot, to get guns. You just have to play. And then I've also been on the other side where you go in and PvP and you feel good about yourself because you got a bunch of eliminations or whatever. But at the end of the day, what I'm beginning to notice is that most people don't like the PvP cycle for very long. They like having that stress and they like having that excitement, right? But there's only so many times that you can get eliminated and lose all your guns, go back in with a Stitcher and lose to a Bobcat over and over again before you just feel completely defeated. And what this guy with this gentleman responded back to me was, and this is his exact words, "Oh, the reason I did it," and he says, "I'm sorry that I did that. I don't feel as good about it as you think, but I'm trying to become the villain because I get ratted every time I load into a raid." Which my response to that was, like, literally every single time? Are you serious? And he says, yes, literally every single time that I come into a raid, I get ratted or somebody at the extract kills me or something, and I have absolutely almost nothing in my stash. And then that's where he leaves it. I mean, I responded to him, hey, I get ratted too sometimes, but I don't shoot people until they shoot me first. That's the only way that it counts as self-defense. That's the only way that I'm going to be able to fight people without the punishment of the matchmaking putting me in a sweatier lobby for XYZ. And I have shot people in the past, even while PvEing, because you'll go and kill a bastion or a bombardier and just completely annihilate it with your own supplies. You waste 2 wolf packs and half a stack of ammo, and then as soon as it dies, 3 or 4 people come out of the woodworks and just the whole thing is gone before you can even get to it. And I got so frustrated that I actually started throwing grenades at it while people were rushing it, and it would blow up and they run not knowing who threw what. But I started getting in crazy lobbies just from, splash damage from grenades. And then when I went into the PvP lobbies, it took like legit 2 to 3 weeks of just getting my face kicked in and my gear stolen every single raid for 3 weeks before finally the matchmaking cleared up a bit and started putting me back in my regular PvE lobbies. And I really believe with the way the player base is, decreasing at the moment, and it's not just decreasing, it's decreasing exponentially. A lot of it is because of this very reason. People are sick and tired of going in to do the same thing over and over and over. And it's not just the missions, it's not just the quest, it's the cycle of going into a raid and then someone else takes all of your hard work that you've put into your loadout and your shields and your heals and your ammo, right? You put all this hard work. It might take you a whole day of raids to develop an entire loadout. If you're somebody that doesn't get to play, like myself, 6 hours a day on stream, maybe you only get 30 minutes a night, maybe you only get an hour on the weekends. If those people are logging in and they are getting ratted by people who are the villain now, they are not going to want to play this game any more than they already are. So at least the very minimum, the rats are hurting the entire game. They're hurting themselves with this because they claim to love the game. They claim to want to play it, but then they continue to spread the illness, which is the sociopathic behavior, to other people and claiming it's okay because someone did it to me. And what that sounds like to me is hazing, right? They're hazing you. It's some ritual. They don't think of it that way, but that's kind of what it is. It's like, hey, it was done to me. I'm going to do it to you. I'm going to pass on the buck and I'm going to take your guns. But what happens when you kill people like he did? When you eliminate people that didn't shoot you first, it puts you in sweatier lobbies. It makes it harder to survive. So the loot that they got from me is more likely to be lost by them. Right? So I guess what I'm trying to say here is the way I play is I look at my raider as if he's an extension of myself. So I go into each raid and going, what would Gray do today? What would the greatest want out of this raid? What would he want out of this day of having all of this stuff, working on all of these different missions, quests, and trying to find loot and specific items for blueprints and things like that. I would want to live in a world, if it was this post-apocalyptic world, I would want someone to show me the way or show me how to do it or maybe share a piece of loot with me. Like, that's always fun. It's incredible, right? But it's like you want to be that friendly, happy-go-lucky guy, but the more that you get absolutely beat down in this game, it makes it so frustrating that I've even said in the past on stream, like, I don't know if I can keep playing this game this way. Not in the state that it's in. But Mr. Redneck Mexican, he is one of those people where if being the villain doesn't work out for him, because the more he does it, the more he gets in aggressive lobbies, the less effective that playstyle is going to be. And then he will say, oh, I just don't like this game anymore. And he'll bounce out. Right. Now, do I know that for a fact? Maybe not about this one specific person, but I have heard so many people saying that the reason they can't play this game is because it's absolutely too sweaty, or the arc are too hard, or et cetera, right? So with that being said, guys, let me know in the chat what you guys think about the idea I've got going on here. Is that really the issue? Are people hurting their own cause? They're displeased with the game because they're perpetuating the behavior that they themselves can't stand, and then they're blaming others for their own behavior. So if becoming the villain because everyone's being the villain to you doesn't make sense to me, does it make sense to you? I don't know. Let me know. Leave it in the chat, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.